What's going on, everyone? So there's a lot of talk about Jimmy Butler potentially being his last year with the Miami Heat. Now, he does have a player option next year, $52 million, that he could opt into and stick around with the Miami Heat. But based on reports, it looks like he is going to test free agency. Now, what this does is it puts pressure on Miami. Does Miami really want to run the risk of losing Jimmy Butler for nothing next offseason? You just saw the Clippers lose Paul George for nothing, right? Or does Miami look to potentially move him this season in order to get something in return before he leaves? But also, is he willing to re-sign or, work out a new deal with that new team? So Jimmy Butler has a lot of power. He has a lot of say in where he wants to go, how he wants to, what type of team he wants to be in, or city or location, or does he want to go to a team that, gives you a real contending chance, or is he open to a team that may take a year or so to kind of figure it out? Because again, Jimmy Butler's only getting older. He's already dealing with a lot of injury history. Just kind of puts the Heat and Jimmy Butler into this like weird position, right? Because, teams aren't going to sell the farm for Jimmy Butler if he's just going to leave in free agency or is going to test free agency. Now you sold the farm to land Jimmy Butler and that's it. He's gone, right? So a team that I think would make a lot of sense for Jimmy Butler, one, could still trade for him. Two, you have probably the best chance of winning an NBA championship with this team. The lineup and roster would be insane, and that is the New York Knicks, right? I think if you look at Jimmy Butler, there are several other teams that definitely would be in the mix. Brooklyn is one of the teams that is not looking to trade for him, but is actually interested in signing him next offseason, which I think is odd because you just traded Mikal Bridges. So why would you trade Mikal Bridges and then go and sign Jimmy Butler? Also, why would Jimmy Butler want to go to Brooklyn? Right? Like, he's not winning a championship in Brooklyn. He has a better chance in New York. Like, if he wants to go into the, that side of town, right? Like, you might as well go to the Knicks, right? Like, it's just, I just think he has the best chance with the Knicks. Clippers definitely are always, because Steve Ballmer's got deep pockets, and they lost Paul George, so they could look at like, hey, Jimmy Butler could kind of give us that Paul George replacement, especially if the Clippers have a down year or a bad year. Maybe they put their hat in the ring for Jimmy Butler. It's gonna be interesting to see because like even in free agency next year, the only teams that really have the money to sign him are kind of like the bad teams or like middle of the pack teams, right? Is he gonna go to Utah? Probably not. Maybe the Spurs, that could be interesting, but does the Spurs want him? He's not going to, is he going to go to a team like Detroit or something? Probably not, right? Like, again, if he was 27, maybe he'd be more interested in maybe hitting the reset button a little bit with a new organization and like taking a year or two to kind of figure it out, but he's not, right? He's going to be 35. Like, it's just, he's already dealing with those injury struggles. You would imagine that he wants to win sooner rather than later, right? You'd imagine that, he's not going to want to spend the next year or two kind of going through a rebuild. Miami's probably not winning again this year, right? Now, the problem is like all the good teams, because of the new apron and everything, it just makes trading for Jimmy Butler really difficult and challenging. So more likely than not, if Jimmy Butler is traded, it's next offseason, right? I don't think that Miami is necessarily going to trade him this season because, one, again, very limited to who they could trade him to. Two, I don't think teams are really going to line up to go and trade for Jimmy Butler and give up all the assets and everything like that. I think they'll just have a more likely scenario if they're able to use him as that trade chip next offseason to send him and ship him where he wants, right? Saw DeMar DeRozan, Klay Thompson, guys like that work out those type of deals. So Jimmy Butler could do the same thing, where it's like, hey, we're signing and trading Jimmy Butler, we're taking on this money, whatever. Miami could get under the cap and all that stuff to make things work, so they could take on, money, or maybe one of these other teams, right? It just makes things easier to kind of work around the new aprons. But for the Knicks, to me, it's easy. Just basically swapping Julius Randle and Jimmy Butler. I mean, obviously there'd be more components and pieces to that. It's not as straightforward as that. But you look at Jimmy Butler, he's making $48 million, just round it up and say $49 million this upcoming season, where, you look at Julius Randle's contract, he's making 28, almost basically $29 million, right? So you'd have to, again, give up more to go get to turn Julius Randle into Jimmy Butler, but you could work that out. Like, it wouldn't be that difficult, or maybe you're getting a third team involved, right? Maybe there is a team that wants Julius Randle, and if they could get Julius Randle for essentially free, maybe they'll take him, right? So maybe you're getting a third team in the mix. Also, you got to keep in mind with the Knicks, right? Like, Jalen Brunson took the discount. Mikal Bridges is expected to take a discount. Some of these other guys are expected to kind of take discounted deals. Would Jimmy Butler be willing to take, less money but on a longer term deal, right? It's like, hey, you're not going to get the $52 million that you're looking for, but, would you take $30 million over 4 years, right? So you're getting $120 million, right? He might say, like, yeah, and a chance to win a championship. Because, I mean, just think of that lineup. Because you can move OG to the 4, right? And you would have essentially Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, Jimmy Butler, OG Anunoby, and Mitchell Robinson. Good luck, man. Seriously, good luck. Good luck beating that team. I mean, you're the best perimeter defense in the entire NBA. Between Mikal Bridges, Jimmy Butler, when he's actually locked in and engaged. The problem with Jimmy Butler is he doesn't really seem to take the regular season serious, right? Like, he really just kind of seems to coast during the regular season. But, I mean, the Knicks would have so much talent at that point, right? Like, and look, like I said, they could figure it out next season, right? Where you're working it out to where it's like, the Heat are getting something in return, or maybe they're getting some salary. Maybe one of these other teams are taking on Julius Randle because they like Julius Randle, or they view him as a trade chip. There's ways. I mean, the Knicks just this past offseason showed you that there's ways. They just got Mikal Bridges, kept OG, still have Jalen Brunson, like, didn't lose Josh Hart or DiVincenzo and stuff. Like, there's absolutely ways. And the Knicks can absolutely get this done if they needed to get it done. Again, it takes a little creativity, takes a little kind of, little caving from each side, including Jimmy Butler. Like, Jimmy Butler would have to take a bit of a discount, but would he? Or does he want absolutely, like, I have to have my money, whatever. Or does he look at it as like, man, I go to the Knicks, I'm on a real contender, I'm on probably the best team in the league at that point, and we have a real chance, if healthy, to win a championship. On top of that, I get to be in New York's media, the money that comes with that, and the attention, and, the investments and business and all those things. I mean, the New York market is very lucrative and would be very lucrative for Jimmy Butler. So the money that he would gain for that, he'd probably make more than he would on his contract elsewhere. And that's not counting, like, if he actually does help bring the Knicks a NBA championship, right? Like, because again, like I said, if this happens next season, not this season. So if the Knicks win this year, which very well could happen, if the Knicks win this year, then, I don't think it would be as explosive as like it would be if Jimmy Butler is that missing piece, right? So say the Knicks get to the conference finals and they lose to Boston again or something like that in the conference finals. And then next year, you go and you bring in Jimmy Butler, and now you beat Boston, and you're in the NBA finals, and you win the NBA finals. You don't think the conversation is going to be like, oh man, Jimmy this, Jimmy that, Jimmy was the missing piece, Jimmy. Of course it will be. Kidding me? Jimmy will be praised as a hero, right? He'll live on forever in infamy, right? It's just, I think the Knicks make a ton of sense for Jimmy Butler. I think the Knicks, I think Jimmy Butler makes a ton of sense for the Knicks. I think the Knicks are the best team in the league. Again, Boston was able to get Drew Holiday, Derek White, and Kristaps Porzingis, right? Like, again, the Knicks can make this happen if they really wanted to. Again, it's going to take a little working from everybody. Jimmy Butler is going to have to relinquish something. Knicks are going to have to give up something, make some hard choices, right? The Heat, you may even have to find another team, a third team to kind of help and get this done. But, again, if everybody wants it, if the Knicks want it and Jimmy Butler wants it, guess what? They'll get it. They'll all have it. They'll all get it, and they'll be good. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you like the idea of Jimmy Butler on the Knicks? Do you think no? Jimmy Butler to the Knicks doesn't make any sense. Do you think it's one of those things, like if it does happen, you have to kind of wait and see. Maybe it could be good. Maybe it's not. Again, how do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are. I'd love to hear it, so let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out, so we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. And that subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.